came into our bedroom, into the bathroom, because that's where his wedding ring was and his necklace. And he came in and he grabbed that. And then he left. I didn't even get to give him a kiss goodbye.
Involved in my husband's murder. None of us.
Something just hit the streets, and it's moving fast. Faster than anything tied to this story so far. This isn't just another random theory floating online or some blurry screenshot getting passed around for clicks. Nah, this is coming from people close to what actually went down and what they're saying. It makes everything before this look small, like it was just the opening act. Now here's where it gets intense. Charlie Kirk's sister, Mary Kirk, reportedly had a physical confrontation with Erica at a private ceremony right after Charlie's funeral. Let that really sink in for a second. This wasn't some awkward moment or a quick argument people could ignore. It wasn't just voices getting louder across a crowded room either. According to sources, this turned into a real physical situation that shocked everyone nearby. And it didn't just happen out of nowhere. Word is, things exploded after Mary found out what Erica had allegedly been doing right after her brother passed. We're not just talking about stepping into the spotlight or drawing attention from supporters. The claims go deeper, like allegedly using the situation to bring in donations and even putting out what are said to be personal, private final messages from Charlie that may not have been real. When you start piecing all that together, it paints a wild picture. And once you hear everything tied to it, you can start to see why Mary Kirk reportedly hit her limit and reacted the way she did. Let's get into the letter first, because this is where things take a sharp and uncomfortable turn. Right after Charlie passed, Erica shared what she claimed was a personal love note he had written to her. She posted it publicly and said something like, "Charlie wrote me a love note every Saturday while he honored the Sabbath. He never missed one." That alone had people locked in. But she didn't stop there. She went on to explain, "I share this with you, not to prove a point, not to make anyone feel like they need to do the same for their spouse, but to encourage you to show that when your husband loves you as Christ loved the church, you have a deeper respect for him, a deeper love." Then she added that she hoped husbands would be inspired to step up and wives to grow stronger in their roles. And to hit even harder emotionally, she said she would give anything just to have one more Saturday breakfast with him. Now the letter itself, it was packed with deep emotion. It talked about how special Erica was, how life felt exciting with her by his side, and how strong their bond was. Every line painted the image of a husband who was completely devoted, fully invested, and all in when it came to his wife. It read like something straight from the heart, the kind of message that pulls people in instantly. On the surface, it looked like a touching tribute, exactly the kind that would hit people emotionally, especially those already grieving and searching for something meaningful to hold on to. It gave off that powerful image of love and connection that made it hard for many to look away.
Oh, Erica is not the person that moved that picture. In fact, it would be much more likely that Stacey Sheridan would have added that picture to the background. They would have said, "Okay, we're in his office. What are we going to do? Oh, let's put up some stuff behind to remind people that this is her Charlie and how happy they were and how in love they were." So that really only leaves us with one other option. And that option would be that Charlie himself moves the frame. And he would have had to do this on the 9th, the day before his assassination. And what would have happened thereafter is Erica simply didn't realize.
And it worked. That letter spread everywhere, and people were emotional. It made the marriage look even stronger, and it painted Erica as the grieving widow, holding on to one final piece of love from her husband. But then, sources close to Mary Kirk started making a claim that flipped the whole thing upside down. According to those sources, the letter was allegedly forged. They claim Charlie did not write it at all, and they are not just saying this based on feelings or online gossip. They are pointing to specific handwriting details that, according to them, do not line up with Charlie's real writing style. Now, Charlie Kirk was known to have messy handwriting, but sources claim the letter Erica shared does not match the natural messiness seen in confirmed samples of his writing. They say it looks more like someone studied his handwriting closely and then tried to copy it. But when you look deeper, they claim the mistakes show up in a very specific way. Here's the key difference. Real messy handwriting has a natural rhythm. It flows without the person thinking too hard about every single letter. But when someone is trying to fake messy handwriting, the pressure, spacing, and shaky details can look off. It may seem close at first glance, but the movement does not always feel natural. And according to the sources making this claim, those exact warning signs are allegedly present in the letter Erica posted as Charlie's final written message of love to her. That is a serious accusation, because if that claim is true, then this would not just be some poor choice made during grief. It would mean the public may have been shown something deeply personal that was not real, while emotions were already running sky high. If this allegation is true, then it points to something seriously unsettling. It suggests that while emotions were still raw and everything was fresh, someone may have sat down and created a letter meant to look like Charlie's final words that painted a very specific picture. The kind of message that would make people feel closer, more connected, and even more emotionally invested during an already painful moment. The idea here is not just about a simple mistake. If the forgery claim actually holds up under close examination, then it would be seen as something far more calculated and intentional than anything people expected in a moment like that. That is why this situation has people reacting so strongly, because it challenges the version of events many believed from the start. And according to the same circle of sources, the letter situation was not the only thing raising concerns. At the same time all this was unfolding, there were also claims about financial activity happening behind the scenes. And the way it's being described does not sound random or emotional. Instead, it's being framed as something structured and happening very quickly. One detailed account says a wealthy woman attending Charlie's memorial was approached almost immediately by someone connected to Turning Point. Before she even had the chance to sit down, the conversation reportedly shifted toward money. It's claimed that serious topics were brought up right away, including alleged threats involving Erica and even mention of a reported $6 million cost tied to the memorial itself. And what stands out the most in this account is the timing. The financial discussion allegedly started before the woman could even settle in and process the moment. According to the source, the ask was built right into that first interaction, which left a strong impression that something bigger was already in motion behind the scenes. And it didn't stop there. Not even close. The very next day, that same woman reportedly ended up at a church service, where things took another unexpected turn. She was pulled aside by someone described as a close friend of Erica and invited to sit with her in prayer. On the surface, it sounded like a heartfelt, emotional moment. But according to the report, there was more going on behind it. Sources claim this entire interaction had been carefully arranged ahead of time. The church's priest was allegedly given details about Erica's schedule and location, and that information was then passed along, so this specific meeting could happen. What looked like a natural chance encounter may have actually been planned out step by step. The setup, as described, was meant to feel real and spontaneous. But the claim is that it was anything but that. Instead, it's being framed as a staged emotional moment, one designed to build trust and strengthen a connection that had already started during the memorial conversation about money. That adds a whole different layer to what people thought they were seeing. Now think about the bigger picture here. This situation involves someone who had just lost her husband in a very public and shocking way. Most people would expect extreme privacy in a moment like that. Tight control over movements, very little access, and serious caution about who knows where she is or what she's doing. But according to this account, the opposite may have been happening. It's being claimed that Erica's whereabouts and schedule were being shared in a coordinated way, even involving clergy, to keep certain interactions moving forward. And all of this was allegedly happening while the public was still trying to process the shock and emotion surrounding Charlie's death. And it kept escalating. Turning Point representatives reportedly didn't just stop at phone calls or quick check-ins. They actually traveled to the woman's home in Chicago. A full in-person visit, all aimed at strengthening the financial connection that had already started at the memorial. That alone raised eyebrows, but it didn't end there. Even after that visit, Erica was allegedly brought back into the picture again and again through text messages. The communication stayed active, keeping her name involved and the connection warm. According to the account, it felt like a steady push to keep things moving and make sure the financial relationship didn't fade out. At some point, the woman said she started seeing a clear pattern. When she attended another event, she noticed how the messaging would shift depending on the audience in the room. If the crowd responded more to faith, the focus leaned heavily on Christianity and emotional connection. But if the audience seemed more financially driven, the tone would switch to direct fundraising appeals almost instantly. That kind of adaptability stood out in a big way. The claim is that this wasn't random or unplanned. It was carefully structured to connect with people at their most vulnerable moments. People who truly cared about Charlie and were still dealing with the shock of losing him. And according to the sources sharing this, it wasn't just emotional support or community outreach. They describe it as something much more organized and intentional, operating right from the beginning. That's why this part of the story has been hitting so hard online, because it ties directly into bigger questions about what was really happening behind the scenes in the days leading up to everything. Now, this part hits completely different. This isn't coming from unnamed sources or leaked paperwork. People actually saw this play out with their own eyes. During an appearance on Glenn Beck's live podcast, Erica was sitting at Charlie's desk when she suddenly noticed something sitting right there, a handwritten priority list in Charlie's own writing. Viewers watched her reaction unfold in real time, completely unfiltered and unscripted. No time to prepare, no way to spin it. And what that list revealed? It wasn't something anyone close to her would likely want out in the open. Charlie's handwritten list laid out what mattered most to him. At the top, it said family, children, legacy, clear and direct. Then underneath, he wrote what he wanted to move away from: careerism, consumerism, and loneliness. That alone had people paying close attention. But here's where things started raising serious questions. In the kind of values Charlie publicly stood for, marriage is supposed to be central. The spouse is usually right there at the core of everything. Family, purpose, legacy, all of it tied together. Yet according to what viewers saw, Erica's name did not appear anywhere on that list. Not in the priorities, not in the future plans, not at all. And people noticed that immediately. And then there's that last word, loneliness. That one hit hard for a lot of viewers, because this is someone who openly spoke about his marriage, who made family a key part of his public identity. Seeing that word written there sparked a wave of reactions and questions that people are still debating. That one word, loneliness, is what really shook people. Because it suggests something deeper, something private. It hints that Charlie may have been dealing with feelings he never showed publicly, or at least trying to work through them on his own. And that creates a very different picture from the one being shared after his passing. Think about it. Someone who feels fully connected in their marriage. Someone living out the kind of strong, faith-centered relationship that was often talked about publicly, usually wouldn't write loneliness down as something they're struggling with or trying to fix. That detail alone has people asking serious questions, and they're not brushing it off. And the conversation didn't stop there. Another detail started picking up attention fast. The wedding photo, or more specifically, the fact that it wasn't there anymore. Candace Owens was one of the first to point it out, and once she did, it spread quickly as people went back to rewatch the Glenn Beck podcast appearance. During that appearance, Erica kept mentioning that it was her first time back in Charlie's office since his passing. She said it more than once, really highlighting the emotional weight of being in that space again. But while she was focused on that, viewers noticed something else entirely. A wedding photograph that had always been visible in the background of Charlie's office, something people had seen in countless past videos, was suddenly gone. completely missing from the exact spot where it used to be. That absence sparked a wave of reactions almost instantly. People started debating what it could mean, throwing out different explanations. Because if Erica removed it herself, some see that as an unusual move, especially for someone publicly presenting herself as holding on to every memory and symbol of her marriage. And if it wasn't her, then that raises a whole different set of questions that people are still trying to figure out. At this point, the conversation online is getting louder by the minute. People are no longer just reacting. They're picking apart every detail, every clip, every statement, trying to figure out what actually adds up and what doesn't. Some are convinced these moments, like the missing photo, the loneliness note, and the timing of everything, point to a bigger story that hasn't been fully explained. Others are pushing back hard, saying grief can look different for everyone, and that not every detail means something deeper. That divide, it's growing fast, and neither side is backing down. And that's what's really driving this into overdrive. It's not just one claim or one clip anymore. It's how all these pieces are being connected by the public. People are building their own timelines, comparing past footage, revisiting old interviews, and questioning things that never stood out before. At the same time, there are voices calling for caution, warning that social media can take fragments and turn them into full narratives without the full picture. Because once a story like this picks up speed, it becomes harder and harder to separate confirmed facts from assumptions. But regardless of where people stand, one thing is clear. The story is no longer just about what happened. It's about what people believe happened. And that shift changes everything, because public perception starts shaping the narrative in real time. Now the pressure is building for answers, clarity, and some kind of response that can either confirm or shut down what's been circulating. Until that happens, the speculation isn't slowing down. It's only getting bigger, louder, and way more intense. And now everything has reached a boiling point. The story, the reactions, the clips, the claims. It's all colliding at once, and people are watching closely to see what happens next. At this stage, it's not just about individual moments anymore. It's about the bigger picture people are trying to piece together. Supporters are standing firm. Critics are asking tougher questions. And the online conversation is moving fast with every new detail that surfaces. Everyone wants clarity. But right now, there are still gaps that haven't been fully addressed. What makes this even more intense is how public everything has become. Every clip gets replayed, every word gets analyzed, and every small detail gets turned into a major talking point. That kind of attention can shape the narrative in real time, and once it starts rolling, it's hard to slow it down. At the end of the day, there are still a lot of unanswered questions, and people are waiting to see if any clear responses come forward. Until then, the speculation, the debates, and the theories are going to keep building. And this story is far from over. If you've been following this closely, drop your thoughts below, because this situation has people split right down the middle. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this, so more people can weigh in. And stay tuned, because if anything new comes out, you already know it's going to get even bigger.